Guys, what up? Another one. We're going to be doing a review, an updated version of my rating video I made 3, 4, 5 years ago. I don't know how long it's been. It's been about 3 years. But why are we doing this? I want to get some information out to you, especially you new guys, why we do the things that we do in this game, which one of them is raiding. Why do we raid? So your raiding is your ability to use ships like this guy. Come over here to Marauder. You've got cargo. You've got plunder. You use your ships to gather resources from these targets. So this target right here, you spy this. It has passed these have refineries inside of them that slowly, just like your station, slowly gather resources and generate resources, and you're using your ships to gather because we need resources. We want to make ships. We want to make buildings. We want to snowball tons and tons and tons and tons of ships to fly around and gather resources for us so we can play the game and do things in the game. So why resources? I mean, not only you have your passive resources down here at the bottom, but everything in all these buildings cost a ton of resources. You need, especially when this is your starter and you start building some ships, like you've got 100 Corvettes, 200 Corvettes, 300 Corvettes, you're going to get a gate and you're going to start raiding all around you. You're going to start spying these people and these marauders around you, and you're going to gather from them. And you can do it extremely fast. When you got a Stargate here, you've got a raiding card on this, you're going to be able to tag these extremely fast. So now that you kind of understand why we do it, we need resources for our buildings, we need resources for our ships. What is plunder? Plunder is your ship's ability. You saw on that fleet, I had 74% plunder. That's the ship's ability to capture hidden resources in the game. So the Marauder camps, the players, a lot of players are going to have container port because they need freighters. You need freighters in the game. And the caveat to getting a lot of freighters is making container ports all the way up to cap, which is at level 10. They have a ton. They make it virtually impossible to raid unless you have plunder. So container ports counter your ability to raid hidden resources, and your container ports create this extra layer to the game for making, like, as a player, you don't want anybody taking your resources unless they do specific things. You know, you don't want to get hit with industrials. Like, basically, container port is like a counter to industrials because you're not going to get a lot of plunder with industrials. So what is, like I said, plunder is another. You can get, even if you are not Xaoc, which is a faction in the game, which passively gets from the faction itself 20%, you can still hit 100% plunder even if you are not Xaoc. It's just a little more difficult. So we're going to be time stamping the crap out of this thing. So if you guys want to move ahead, you guys can do that. So plunder, like I just touched on, why do you want plunder? Because plunder, you're going to be able to counter people, especially if they go AFK. Some of the first buildings that you build, container port is a level 1 building. So you've got people that have come into the game and maybe they played 3 or 4 days and then they've left. Okay, so they've left the server, but you have all these stations, especially at your starter, all around you, where people are not in protections anymore. They have the container ports, and they just have resources sitting there. The person, your neighbor, has not played in 3 or 4 days, but they have a level 10 container port. How do you get to those resources? This is what you have to be able to understand and realize. So we had this fleet. So like I said, plunder is different things that you do with your station, with your policies, your faction, and other station cards that you apply. So we're actually going to go up here. So the first part of this, I am Xaoc. So Xaoc, like I said, it automatically gets 20% plunder while raiding. You can only gather resources when you raid. You cannot gather resources when you are assault something. Like, you can assault from other people's bases, but you can only raid from your own because you have to be able to pick up the resources and store them somewhere when you land back. So Xaoc gets 20%, meaning, trying to hit on this, your container ports, you can see this, hidden resource capacity, 20%. So this station, this location right here, this container port can hide up to this amount, but right now the station is 126,000 capacity. So 20% plunder is going to be able to reach into this 25,200 resources. So this location would have to fill all the way up to that last 25,200 in order for you to take anything from this location with 20% plunder. How do we get that higher? So that's a good question. So we'll go to the next thing. So we got plunder values. Just type in plunder into your show all cards. And these are permanent cards. So you've got 16% plunder that goes in your middle slot on all your fleets. And you can see how extremely expensive plunder gets for rigging just individual fleets with plunder. This is why Xaoc is obviously a stronger build for doing raiding, because you automatically get 20%. But so you can see this between 16 to 40%. You can rig the cards. Another way to get, actually I gotta go like this. I go back to my starter. So this location. You got acquisitions. It's 2% per level on this building up to 10 levels, which is 20%. So if you got acquisitions on your station that you are raiding from, it's going to give you another 20%. So Xaoc, and this is 40%. Got 2 policy cards, you can get a level 10. So we're going to go to policies. We're going to go to our military. Actually, it's let's go to like this. Okay, this is better. So belligerence level 5 is 10%, and then professional raider is 10%. So you can obviously can run both of these cards like on pretty much any build besides MPL, because you're always going to have a wild card slot, and then you need another military slot. So MPL actually does not get I don't think they get a military slot at all. You can see this. Yep. So so I take that back. MPL can only get 90% plunder, period, because they can't run both of the military policies. So maybe the weakness of MPL right there. But back to this. So having these 2 cards on, this one professional raider and belligerence is 60%. Then the blue card, so you can see this. So I usually run 1 blue card, so this is 24%. So right now, if I was running that other military policy, I would be at 84% plunder with the blue cards, which is not that much. 167 credits if you got the blueprint maxed to level 5 is not that much credits to put on a couple of your ships or a couple of your fleets. And so so you guys can see this. I rated this, and you can see that there's resources here. This is the point of it. We're getting resources for our buildings and all this stuff. But to get that last 20%, you actually got to go back. So when you're playing this game and you're using your ships to run missions, you're going to get rocket. So level 4 and level 5 missions, you're going to get a couple of these, but these cards last for 3 days. So if you're running level 4 missions and eventually level 5 missions, you're going to get rockets, and you're going to be able to break this card on this station. So you got your starter station, you got your station character slot. You're going to be able to apply a rocket here. And as Xaoc, with just the blue card, I'll be at 104% plunder, which you can only get 100%. There's no benefit of going over 100. But you, Atlas, Frontier Legion, TN, and Terran factions, you have 2 military slots. So if you get the gold plunder card, which is 40%, that's how you hit 100. So I'm at 104% with the blue one as Xaoc. If I applied the gold permanent plunder card at 40%, I would then go up to 120% plunder on my guys. So why is it? Why did I make this video? Why is this? Because I want you guys to understand the strength of this, especially at the starter, especially if you're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days into the server. You're making ships. You're on your third station, your fourth station. You've taken ice. You've kept your starter with pilots. So Royal Pilot School, and then you've got fleet docks on this thing. Okay, excuse me, this one. So you're gonna be you got the time cost for making corvettes is 30% less, and then you got pilots on this thing, which is another 20%. So you're saving 50% time, the amount of time to make and just spam corvettes. And then me, as Xaoc, I get let's see this. So power, time cost, and then okay. So I don't get any savings on making corvettes, but they buff my corvettes with 2 speed and cargo while raiding. But what I'm getting at is you're into your third station, you're into your fourth station, you've taken ice, you make fleet docks pilots, you start rallying those ships. You're gonna have ships. You're gonna have stacks of corvettes just sitting here, and you can use them. You can use them. You can see when your neighbors go AFK. You can see this guy right here. Okay, today's like day 8 or day 9 in the server. You can look this guy up and see he only has 1 station, and he's out of protection. You can spy this. You can probe this and see that he doesn't have a missile battery, and you can see all of his resources sitting there. That's what I did with another one of my neighbors. You can see it's 2 stations over. It's like a 40-minute flight, 35-minute flight here. So you have your pool of spies. So I can go like this and be like, okay, like what's my next? I can go to this guy. This guy just got hit, but let's go to let's spy this guy. So we'll spy this guy and see if it works. So you can see this right now. He has no missile battery. He has a few ships, but you can see these resources. 70, there's 100,000 resources here. Okay, so that's what I did over here. Okay, this guy right here. So I spied this guy like 3 hours ago. Okay, or whatever it was. Okay, you can see this. This guy had no ships here, no outpost, and he has 140,000 resources. Plus, he has the container port. So I have all my ships. So I have a bunch of lights here. This is a lot of lights. Okay, this is 6 stacks of corvettes. Plus, I have some other ones that are just flying around. I'm going to send this one out in raid, so you guys can see this. 74%. I don't have the other military policy on. Professional raider, and I don't have rocket on this station, but I'm still at 74%. So I'm going to send the raid. You guys can see my cargo, and it flies over there, it hits this, and comes back. I have my ships here, and you can see this. This is the strength of raiding, and I'm making carriers. I have an HSA. I'm making frigates. I'm in other positions on the map. But I'm still using my labor, and I'm still using my ships. It took me an hour, a half hour there and a half hour back to gather, 130,000 resources like that. And it's just spying people. It's seeing people around you. If they have missile batteries, if they've been on the server or been there for like 4 or 5 days, but they don't even have a level 4 station yet. These guys are farms, and you as a player that's actually playing, and these guys are AFK, that's what they are. If they're not going to actively play the server, and they don't even have a missile battery there, and they're not playing, just raid them. Take their resources and put it into your build, and then kind of the strength. So I've had a couple of questions about this, about what I do with my starter. This is the strength of the starter right here, especially as Xaoc. You can see this. This is a ton of resources, and then at this location, these resources right here are going to pay for Ataka, which is just another buff to raiding. So Ataka is supplied fleets here. So I would have to supply the individual fleet from this location. But then I can fly further and faster because it's going to buff them with 3 speed. So supplied fleets. So if I do have one fleet on here that has the purple card on it. So you can see 82% plunder is pretty decent. It's not 100. If I had a rocket, I'd bust it on here, and I'd be able to get 100% with this fleet, and then feed it from here and get 3 more speed, which just means I can raid faster and further away. So it's just a great interaction for you guys, new guys, vets coming back. I don't know. I love, if you're extremely active, like there have been moments when I've played this game, like during alpha, that I'm extremely active. Xaoc is huge. Xaoc, you don't have to be Xaoc, but it's gonna buff, like the faction itself buffs your speed, buffs your cargo, and buffs your plunder as that faction. So maybe some of you guys want to give this a shot and all this good stuff. That's kind of the end of it. And just, you new guys, give the game a shot. Don't just spawn in, try it for 2 seconds, and then leave. You got to allow yourself to get into your build, start making more stations, get into an alliance, and just start playing and messing around with the builds. Even if, I work 5 days a week, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, but I can still come home and play for 4 or 5 hours a day and help my team and play a Gatos build, or play a Hammer build, or play an Atlas build, or even if you're playing TN, you can spy people, you can still raid, you can get 60%, 80% plunder on your fleets and keep your starter and do things like this. So hopefully that was helpful to some of you guys. Leave me some feedback on this if you like. Plunder is extremely strong, and not only can you use it at your starters, but you can do this on the battlefield as well when you're attacking into somebody and you're knocking missile batteries offline, and then you're stealing their resources. Until next time, guys, this is Gambler. Peace out.